We've all heard the phrase, America is the melting pot of the world. You might ask yourself, what exactly does a melting pot have to do with America? Simply stated, it means that America is full of diverse people from diverse backgrounds, all coming together to form one society, the American society. Yes, it is true that people from all different ethnicities, cultures, and races are coming together in America. However, America is not simply a pot full of diverse people, it is a mosaic. Diversity is not blending America, it is transforming it. As America transforms into a fully diverse society, we have to ensure that everything within it transforms diversely as well. It is important that educators paint a picture of diversity for their students within their classrooms. Schools will have to embrace a curriculum that positively promotes diversity to all students. The ultimate goal of an educator is meeting the needs of every student in the classroom despite their differences. Today we will answer the following question. Can multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy be used to increase student interest in social studies? We can define multicultural education as an educational approach that integrates 4 factors that encourage diversity and equality into a curriculum. The 4 factors that should be considered when encouraging diversity and equality are the instruction of students from different backgrounds, the study of ethnic and other cultural groups, the development of critical thinking skills, and a focus on human relations. Many educators feel nervous and uneasy about integrating diversity acceptance into their classrooms. However, it is an educator's responsibility to not only promote diverse cultures, but also teach students how to appreciate their cultural differences. In order for educators to become comfortable with diversity, they may need to study different cultures and educate themselves on the differences. According to Manning, educators need to understand the lack of acceptance many students feel because of their culture, and that some students may experience cultural characteristics that vary or conflict with another culture. Educators need to be aware of everything they say to their students, avoiding inappropriate generalizations and stereotypes. Once educators feel comfortable incorporating diversity into the classroom, their goal should be making their students comfortable with the decision of diversity. According to Hillard and Pine, once children are taught in the classroom to embrace diversity, they will grow into adults who accept all people, despite their differences. Eventually, as multiculturalism is practiced, racism and prejudices will greatly decrease. Multicultural education is the potential catalyst to bring all races together in harmony. It is essential that educators receive support from the administration in their schools. The outcome of integrating multicultural education will be more successful depending on the amount of commitment that the administration has for it. Administrators have the capability of taking an initiative for multicultural education not only in their school, but also in surrounding schools. As more schools become involved in the process, more students are positively influenced. It is important for an educator to use culturally relevant pedagogy. An educator who is culturally relevant believes in the success of students in the classroom. According to Martell, for an educator to successfully integrate culturally relevant pedagogy, he or she needs to complete 4 tasks. The educator must form fluid social relationships with each student, demonstrate connectedness with all students in the classroom, be able to learn collaboratively, and have a critical and constructed conception of the knowledge. Many educators find themselves asking, how is this possible? Dr. James Banks, the director of the Center for Multicultural Education at the University of Washington, specializes on incorporating multiculturalism into the classroom. His article, Multiculturalism's 5 Dimensions, provides educators with examples and guidelines for integrating relevant pedagogy. In order to complete all of the 4 tasks for relevant pedagogy, educators will need to be flexible in their teaching methods so that students from different ethnicities and backgrounds are able to be successful. Dr. Banks' 5 dimensions are content integration, knowledge construction, equity pedagogy, prejudice reduction, and empowering school culture and social norms. Equity pedagogy, his main dimension of the 5, creates an environment in which students can acquire, integrate, and produce knowledge and envision new possibilities for the use of that knowledge for societal change. Equity pedagogy also serves as a way to challenge teachers to use varied teaching strategies that also serve as a way to simplify the learning process for students while integrating diversity. He encourages educators to teach the students in the classroom to create new understandings, rather than just focusing on memorization. When students are able to generate their own knowledge, they come to their own conclusions, and they are more likely to effectively use what they have learned. Despite what many educators believe, equity pedagogy should be focused on, and the students and their achievements. However, students need constant and consistent guidance and direction in the classroom. Educators can then come alongside students and encourage positive interactions between students in the classroom. While it is important to focus on the possible misconceptions and problems that go along with differences, students need to feel that their needs are being met and that their teacher is correctly informing other students of real issues. An educator's secondary goal is ensuring that each student feels safe and accepted in the classroom. For this to be effective, the learning process has to go beyond the limits of the classroom. It is beneficial when an entire school can come together to create a positive and educational environment where diversity is celebrated. The mission of integrating equity pedagogy is to move away from generalizations and characteristics and into promoting the complexity of each culture and each individual represented in the classroom. As far as integrating multiculturalism in the classroom, educators have the most vital job. Educators and joining students in the process of learning. They are ultimately benefiting as much as each student is. Each student comes from a different background, possibly a different culture, just as the teacher does. When the teacher can join his or her differences with the students, together the class can share and learn from each other. As the teacher and the students come together, they begin to build on their prior schema and eventually construct more knowledge. Dr. Banks describes the ultimate type of teacher that can effectively carry out multiculturalism and calls them the warm demanders. When an educator is warmly demanded, he or she is teaching the students that it is possible to make a demand while still promoting a caring attitude. Students are taught that they need to live their lives showing care for each and every person in order for the process to work. Educators are so important in this process because they know all of their students on a personal level. The teacher will know what influences each student and in what way. They can set the standard in their classroom as a caring zone and eventually make a difference in the way that students approach each other. So for multiculturalism to work in the classroom, a teacher must incorporate all different perspectives, habits, problems, and concepts in each culture represented. While doing this, the teacher needs to ensure that all of these areas are taught in an encouraging way that does not demean a culture or a student. One way a teacher can teach in a multiculturalist way would be using an appropriate book or text that teach about students' differences. For example, a teacher in an elementary school classroom could read a book to the students as a reference for differences in the classroom. Same But Different by Jenny Sue Shaw is a book about two different friends from different cultures that are pen pals. Through this book, the readers can see that it's possible to be friends with someone who is different than them. It promotes acceptance across different cultures. One Green Apple by Eve Buttoning is about a girl who constantly feels left out of everything at school. Farah, the character of the story, struggles with connecting to the other characters that are different than her. This book would be a great resource for teachers to use to teach students about including everyone despite their differences. Another way to create a multiculturalist classroom would be integrating differences into the simple lessons. For example, a teacher could discuss different holidays around the world instead of just teaching about Christmas. They could discuss Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. When teaching about America's Independence and Freedom Day, the 4th of July, he or she could compare it to Mexico's Independence Day, Cinco de Mayo. The teacher could teach about Thanksgiving in America and how it differs from Chuseok in Korea. A teacher could even simply discuss the different freedoms that each country has. The students could compare the Declaration of Independence to other countries' forms of freedoms. Students could learn about all different policies in each culture rather than just learning about the American culture. In other words, educators simply need to broaden their lessons and curriculum to include all students and their cultures. Each culture that is represented in the classroom or school deserves recognition in what is being taught. A teacher can do this by knowing their students and portraying care for each student despite their differences. It is possible to increase a student's interest in social studies by using multiculturalist approach. In fact, it is possible to increase a student's interest in much more when they are taught about diversity. Teachers have the ability to shape a child's future in many ways, including teaching them the importance of acceptance. How do you want to use that ability?